Good morning, my dear students. Welcome to another class on linguistics. Thank you so much for watching all these videos I've been posting, and I really hope that you all are keeping well under these special circumstances wherever you are. My thoughts and prayers are with you all. So let us, without further ado, start with our next lesson. So today I'm going to teach you about British English. Okay. So even within England itself, there are many varieties of English. So English language has a number of varieties within and outside England. ഇപ്പോൾ ഇംഗ്ലണ്ടിനകത്തും പുറത്തുമായിട്ട് പല വെറൈറ്റീസ് ഓഫ് ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് സംസാരിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. So under the heading of standard English, I would like to introduce you to certain differences in accents or dialects of English within England and what is known as standard English itself. So even within England itself, there have always been a large number of dialects. And out of all these dialects, the most prominent dialect was, or still is, the dialect of the southeast of England. ഇപ്പം ഇംഗ്ലണ്ടിൻ്റെ സൗത്ത് ഈസ്റ്റ് ഭാഗത്തെ ഡയലക്റ്റാണ് ഏറ്റവും പ്രാധാന്യമുള്ള ഡയലക്റ്റ്, എസ്പെഷ്യലി ദി എഡ്യൂക്കേറ്റഡ് സ്പീക്കേഴ്സ് ഓഫ് ദ ലണ്ടൻ റീജിയൻ. അപ്പം ഈ ലണ്ടൻ റീജിയനിലെ വിദ്യാഭ്യാസമുള്ള ആളുകളുടെ ഡയലക്റ്റ് ആയിരുന്നു ഏറ്റവും പ്രോമിനൻ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഡയലക്റ്റ് ഇപ്പോഴും. So it acquired some prestige and some certain privileges. So in time, what happened was these educated class of speakers in London, their speech lost the local characteristics of London speech. ലണ്ടൻ്റേതായിട്ടുള്ള കുറച്ച് ലോക്കൽ ഫീച്ചേഴ്സ് ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ട്. ആ ഫീച്ചേഴ്സ് ഒക്കെ അവർക്ക് നഷ്ടപ്പെട്ട് കുറച്ചും കൂടി ഒരു സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡൈസ്ഡ് ഫോം, ഒരു പ്രസ്റ്റീജിയസ് ഫോം ഓഫ് സ്പീച്ച് ആയിട്ട് ഈ ഒരു സ്പീച്ച് മാറി. And that came to be hailed as standard English. So this particular form, it was also called received pronunciation. So as I mentioned, this is the English of well-bred Londoners. ലണ്ടനിലുള്ള എല്ലാ ലണ്ടനേഴ്സിൻ്റെയും സ്പീച്ച് റിസീവ്ഡ് പ്രൊനൗൺസിയേഷൻ അല്ല, only well-bred, well-educated Londoners. And they were usually graduates of public schools like Eton and Harrow and Oxbridge, again Oxford or Cambridge universities. And this is also, it's got another name, it's called Queen's English. It's called RP or received pronunciation, also called BBC English because BBC used this kind of English. And then public school English, that is another term for received pronunciation because this was employed by public schools in instruction. And it does not have much regional peculiarities. It's more or less a standard variety of English used by educated speakers. And it is recognized by educated and in educated class all over the world as the standard. And it is also in textbooks of English, this is the kind of English that we are taught, like the perfect grammar and perfect pronunciation and syntax and all, that all occurs in received pronunciation. So again, let's look at received pronunciation once again. So this is the pronunciation of southeast of England, mainly of the educated speakers. അപ്പോൾ ഇംഗ്ലണ്ടിൻ്റെ സൗത്ത് ഈസ്റ്റ് ഭാഗത്തെ വിവരവും വിദ്യാഭ്യാസവും ഉള്ള ആളുകളുടെ പ്രൊനൗൺസിയേഷൻ ആണ് റിസീവ്ഡ് പ്രൊനൗൺസിയേഷൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. സോ ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് കോൾഡ് RP, ആൻഡ് ലേറ്റർ റിസീവ്ഡ് പ്രൊനൗൺസിയേഷൻ seems to have evolved into standard English. So received pronunciation standard English same ആണോ എന്ന് ചോദിച്ചാൽ ആണ്, എന്നാൽ there are certain subtle differences. First of all, there was received pronunciation, later it was evolved into standard English. And Daniel Jones says about received pronunciation that it is easily understood throughout the English speaking world. It is a widely understood pronunciation. So that is peculiar about received pronunciation. Everybody who knows English can understand received pronunciation easily. So that is a peculiarity of received pronunciation. So what are the reasons for the popularity of received pronunciation? Let's look at these few reasons. First of all, it was spoken in and around London. So London was politically and commercially important to the country. Because of political and commercial importance of this region where the speech was used, this received pronunciation became very popular. ഇപ്പം ലണ്ടനിൽ സംസാരിച്ചിരുന്ന ഭാഷയായിരുന്നു. ലണ്ടൻ പൊളിറ്റിക്കലി ആൻഡ് കമേഴ്ഷ്യലി വളരെ ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു റീജിയൻ ആയതുകൊണ്ട് അവിടുത്തെ ഭാഷയും വളരെ പ്രോമിനൻ്റ് ആയ ഒരു ലാംഗ്വേജ് ആയിട്ട് മാറി. Second reason is the court and the universities of Oxford and Cambridge were also situated in this region. So universities of Oxford and Cambridge, they also started using this particular pronunciation. The next reason is the prestigious British public schools taught this variety of language. So in these British public schools like Eton College and Eton School and all, this variety of language was used for instruction, and also the grammar which was taught as perfect in these parts, in these schools were received pronunciation, that of received pronunciation. The fourth reason is this was the variety of English employed by BBC, especially the news readers. So BBC popularized this variety as standard English. And another reason is that this is most commonly described pronunciation in books by phoneticians and all. So if we take any book by a linguist or a phonetician, this is the kind of pronunciation which is given importance. This is what is recorded in phonetics books and all. And this is the kind of English which is taught to foreign learners of English. So that is another reason why received pronunciation is very popular. And the final reason for the popularity of received pronunciation is that this was the pronunciation which is represented in English Pronouncing Dictionary of Daniel Jones. So any student of English language will be familiar with this dictionary, Dictionary of English Pronouncing Dictionary of Daniel Jones. അപ്പം ഈ ഡിക്ഷണറിയിൽ യൂസ് ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്ന പ്രൊനൗൺസിയേഷൻ സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡ് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന റിസീവ്ഡ് പ്രൊനൗൺസിയേഷൻ ആണ്. സോ ദീസ് ആർ എ ഫ്യൂ റീസൺസ് ഫോർ ദ പോപ്പുലാരിറ്റി ഓഫ് received pronunciation all over the world as standard English. So now that you have learned about received pronunciation and standard English, let us look at the varieties of British English. I already mentioned that even within Britain, many different varieties of English are used by speakers. So there are many regional dialects of English which exist in England. And what are the difference between all these varieties of English? So the variety, they deviate from each other in various standards like in vocabulary, pronunciation, morphology, syntax, etc. First of all, let's look at pronunciation. So there are many different accents and dialects in British English itself. British English il thanne pala dialects um accents um കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഉണ്ട്, and you already know about the difference between accents and dialects. I mentioned it in my last class. Accent is concerned only with pronunciation, whereas dialect is concerned with pronunciation, vocabulary, grammar, morphology, syntax, and all the other different phases of language. So let's look at some accents and dialects in British English. First of all, received pronunciation. But even though this is considered as a standard, the funny thing is that only 3% of people in England actually use this accent. But the thing is, these 3% of people who use this accent, they are extremely powerful and they hold power positions in politics and commercial development of the country. That is why received pronunciation is extremely popular, even though it is spoken by a minority of people. And the second accent is Cockney accent or estuary English. Cockney accent in a variety ആണ് estuary English എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ. Cockney accent is a local London accent. So it is spoken in London by local people, not the educated people. And it's not just in London, it has extended further to Essex and all. So it is estuary English എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ it is the kind of English which is spoken by people living along the river Thames. Thames നദിയുടെ തീരത്ത് താമസിക്കുന്ന ആളുകൾ സംസാരിക്കുന്ന ഒരു പ്രത്യേക തരത്തിലുള്ള ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ആണ് estuary English എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. And the third accent I want to introduce is Midland dialect or northern dialects. So these dialects are spoken in the middle and northern parts of the country, as the name suggests. And then there is West Country accent. or West Country dialect. This is spoken in the west of England. This is also a very rural accent. It's pretty hard to understand this kind of accent. And then there is a Yorkshire accent. Yorkshire accent or Yorkshire dialect is the dialect which is used in Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights and all. So it's pretty hard to understand. Even I have this experience of working in a pet insurance company run by people in UK. So I used to work them. I was a tele insurance salesperson. So one day I got a call from this woman who was crying. നല്ല കരച്ചിലായിരുന്നു. And she was saying something about her cart and all. I couldn't understand at all. She was saying my cart, my cart. And after a while, I understood that she was talking about her cat. So there is a marked difference in the way these people speak. And I understood that she was from this part of the country. Also, there was another instance where some people, they don't like that they are speaking to Indians when they call a call center. And there was this one person who was like, I don't want to speak to a bloody Indian. Where are you speaking from? And I said, I'm from India. And he said, I don't want to speak to you. And I said, I can speak in a different accent, you know. And I got some accent training in that particular company, and I started different speaking in different accents. And he was like, no. And finally, what I had to do was, sir, what I am trying to tell you today is, and then that guy said, oh, now I understand you. So even, these kind of speakers, they, even though I was working for a British company, each and every call was actually different. So again, Yorkshire is one of the biggest counties in England, the biggest provinces in England, and Yorkshire has a very distinctive accent. And we can also notice one of the biggest pronunciation differences in the letter U, how the letter U is pronounced. U is actually spoken as oo rather than ah. For example, cut is pronounced as coot, and blood is pronounced as blood. So that is another marked difference. Then let's look at other accents and dialects like Scottish dialect, Welsh dialect, Irish dialect, etc. These are accents or dialects of Scotland, Wales, Ireland, etc. And then there are certain accents which are spoken in certain cities like Liverpool, അതിൻ്റെതായ accent ഉണ്ട്. Just like we have got a Trivandrum dialect, or Trivandrum accent. Liverpool has its own dialect, and Birmingham, Newcastle, Glasgow, all these cities have their own way of speaking. And what is peculiar about London is actually a mixture. It has many accents, national and international accents can be noted in London. So let's look at in practice how pronunciation differs in certain dialects. So the dialects deviate considerably from the standard in pronunciation, what we call standard English or received pronunciation. These local dialects actually differ from the standard dialects in many ways, especially in pronunciation. Let's look at some examples of it. For example, in Scottish English, they don't pronounce l in words like all, full, etc. It's all, full, etc. And not exactly the way I pronounced it, but l എന്ന് പറയുന്ന sound അവിടെ pronounce ചെയ്യാറില്ല. Then in Northern English, the short vowel a is used instead of a in words like laugh, fast, etc. But Northern English, it's laugh, fast, etc. Exactly like Americans pronounce it. Again, in Northern English, there is no difference between the vowel a as in run and the vowel u as in pull. ഇത് രണ്ടും ഒരേ രീതിയിലാണ് pronounce ചെയ്യുന്നത്. There is no difference between a and u. It's both of these sounds are pronounced almost the same. And another example is in Northern and Midland dialect. Singing, instead of saying singing എന്ന് പറയുന്നതിന് പകരം singing എന്നാണ്, singing. Okay, the g is used instead of ng in the middle of the word. G is used instead of ng. It's called singing. Okay. Then in Cockney accent, with is pronounced viv. Okay, viv. Not with, it's viv. And in Midland accent, cup is pronounced as coop. Also, mug is pronounced as mug. Okay, so there are certain differences like that in pronunciation. So I guess that's all about pronunciation in different dialects. Let's move on to the next topic. So the next topic is vocabulary. Let's see how British vocabulary is vast in all its dialects. So in British English, if we can see, it is rich in vast dialect vocabulary. ഓരോ dialectsലും അതിൻ്റെതായിട്ടുള്ള special words അവർ use ചെയ്യാറുണ്ട്. Let's look at certain examples. The first example I want to quote is, there is a phrase called meet for work. Meet for work. So this phrase is used to describe the practice of allowing a horse to graze instead of paying for the work it does. ഒരു കുതിരയെ എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു പണിക്ക് വിളിച്ചു, അതിന് പേ ചെയ്യുന്നതിന്, കുതിരയുടെ ഓണറിന് പേ ചെയ്യുന്നതിന് പകരം ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു ഫീൽഡ് കൊടുത്തിട്ട് അവിടെ പോയി പുല്ല് തിന്നോളാൻ പറയും. സോ ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് എ കൈൻഡ് ഓഫ് ഫ്രേസ്, മീറ്റ് ഫോർ വർക്ക്. Okay, exactly like that. I call one of you to help me, and instead of paying you with money, I buy you food. That is again meat for work. ഇവിടെ മീറ്റ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് മീറ്റ് തന്നെ ആവണമെന്നില്ല. It could be anything. It could be pizza, it could be grass, anything like that. Again, there are many loan words from Scandinavian and French languages in all these different dialects. Certain Scandinavian words in northern dialects, they use kirk, the word kirk for church. Church എന്നുള്ളതിന് അവർ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന വേറൊരു വാക്കാണ് kirk. Again, they use tack for thatch. Thatch എന്ന വേർഡിന് പകരം tack എന്നൊരു വേർഡാണ് യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. These two words are taken from Scandinavian, loaned from, borrowed from Scandinavian. Then certain French words are also borrowed into English in these northern dialects. Words like arvain. Arvain means a spider. Dole means sorrow. Hogo means a disagreeable smell, a bad stench. Okay. And then another practice in dialects is the use of alliteration and rhyme, repetition of certain sounds. For example, to glunch and gloom, you can see that there is a repetition of gl. To glunch and gloom, it means to look sulky. ആകെ പിണങ്ങി ഇങ്ങനെ ദേഷ്യപ്പെട്ടൊക്കെ ഇരിക്കുന്ന ഒരവസ്ഥയാണ് to glunch and gloom. And then to meddle or make means to interfere. Okay. And this is a very common feature, use of alliteration and rhyme, that is repetition of sounds. Then in some of these dialects, we can see that everyday words like boy and girl, these are not used. Instead of boy and girl, they use lad and lass. Even magan, son എന്നുള്ളതിന്റെ അർത്ഥം അതിന് പകരം lad എന്ന് വിളിക്കാണ്. My lad, my son എന്ന് പറയാറുണ്ട്. Then there are certain words in which are used in dialect in a different sense. Standard language il ninnu different aayittulla oru meaning aanu dialectal ee words nu kodukkunnathu. For example, soft and simple, adinoru positive meaning aanu nammade standard English il ullathu. Pakshe northern accents il it means feeble mindedness. Feeble, soft aanennu vanna he is very soft, oru orppillatha oruthananu, nattalillatha oruthananu. Then cake in Yorkshire actually means bread, and bread in Yorkshire actually means cake. Very confusing. Then pig or piggy in Scotland actually means a hot water bottle. So you see how common words, certain words are used to signify something else in these dialects. So that brings us to the end of vocabulary. These are some examples. So let's deal with morphology. So morphology, you already know that morphology is a study of language in terms of morphemes. That is the smallest meaningful unit of a language. So let's look at the differences in morphological composition in different dialects. First point is, there is a tendency to coin new compound words and derivatives from native elements in these different dialects. ഓരോ ഡയലക്റ്റിലും അവരുടേതായിട്ടുള്ള പുതിയ പുതിയ കോമ്പൗണ്ട് വേർഡ്സ് ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്ന ഒരു സ്വഭാവം ഇവർക്കുണ്ട്. ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ, these are 3 examples here. Has been. Has been means a person or thing past its prime. He's a has been, he's a has been actor എന്നൊക്കെ പറയുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് പണ്ട് നല്ലൊരു മനുഷ്യനായിരുന്നു, ഇപ്പം അയാളുടെ സമയം കഴിഞ്ഞു, അയാളുടെ നല്ല കാലമൊക്കെ കഴിഞ്ഞു. ആൻഡ് ദെൻ നെവർ സ്വെറ്റ്. നെവർ സ്വെറ്റ് ഇസ് എ ലേസി ഫെല്ലോ, ഒരിക്കലും വിയർക്കാത്തവൻ എന്നൊരർത്ഥമാണ്. സോ ദിസ് ഇസ് എ ന്യൂ കോമ്പൗണ്ട് വേർഡ്, റൈറ്റ്? ആൻഡ് ദെൻ ഡേറ്റ്ലെസ് മീൻസ് സ്റ്റുപ്പിഡ്. So these are certain new compound words in dialects. And another point is, some dialects they use the prefix un instead of prefixes im or in. For example, instead of impossible they use unpossible. Indecent nu pagaram undecent. Irregular nu pagaram unregular. So there is this tendency in certain dialects. And then instead of using a and an, they have some dialects use a in all positions. വവലിന് മുന്നേയും എ തന്നെയാണ് അവർ യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അങ്ങനെ ചില ഡയലക്ട്സിൽ വരാറുണ്ട്. And another point is, they have a tendency to form nouns by adding the suffix en in southern dialects. For example, ഒരു already existing ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു noun ആയിരിക്കും, but they wanted to reinforce that it is a noun. So they have a tendency to add en towards the end. For example, tin and pots. Tin pots എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ മതി, but then they have this tendency to add another en. Tin and pots. Glass and bottles. So there is this tendency in some dialects. And some dialects also use double comparatives and double superlatives. That is also to stress it further. For example, instead of just using more beautiful, they use more beautifuler. And then instead of using just better, they use betterer. Okay, so that is another tendency in certain dialects. And in Middle English dialect, in Southern dialect, they actually use the personal pronoun ich of Middle English. Ich means I. ഐന് പകരം ഇച്ച് എന്ന് ഇപ്പോഴും യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ചില ഡയലക്ട്സ് ഉണ്ട്. സദേൺ ഡയലക്ട്സിൽ ഇപ്പോഴും അത് യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. ദെൻ pronoun he is actually pronounced as e in some dialects when it is stressed, and when it is unstressed it is pronounced as e or a. Okay, and then certain strong verbs in some dialects, strong verbs have become weak. Strong verbs നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അറിയാം, strong verbs are verbs which change the tense by changing a vowel in the root of the word. For example, begin, began, begun. Okay, sing, sang, sung. These are strong verbs. And what are weak verbs? Weak verbs change tense by adding d, ed or t. So let's see, in some accents instead of using began they use beginned. So strong verb became weak verb. Instead of chose they use choosed. Instead of came they use comed. So these are certain differences in morphology in different dialects of Britain. The final topic of discussion in various British dialects are the difference in syntax. Okay, so the syntax of English dialects, you know that in standard English they rigidly follow rules, but these English dialects they don't actually follow rules that much, so they are free from strict adherence to rules. For example, belong, the word belong, it is used in the dialectic, in dialect it is used in the sense it means owns. When I say an example you will understand it better. Look at this example. Who belongs to these cows? Who belongs to these cows? എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അതിൻ്റെ അർത്ഥം it actually means to whom do the cows belong. Okay, so belong എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ owns. Who owns these cows എന്നാണ് actually അവിടെ ചോദിക്കുന്നത്. Okay, so in some northern accents and all, if you are giving an order or a command or a request, an imperative, they have a tendency to add thee or do before the command. For example, thee get out. So that is again for emphasis. കുറച്ചും കൂടെ emphasize ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. Instead of just saying get out, they say thee get out. Okay. Instead of saying you get out, it's thee get out. Again, they have a tendency to use us, the plural pronoun us, as an indirect object with a singular meaning. So I often use it with my husband when he's eating something. I often say, give us a bite. Actually, I mean me. No, not like everybody in the house. It's just me. So even though there is one person, there is a singular meaning. There is this tendency to use us, the plural pronoun us, as an indirect object. For example, give us a bite. Then that is often used in the sense of to such an extent. This is commonly used by Indians. He was that hungry. So he was hungry to that such an extent. That is what we mean by this. So these are certain differences in syntax of different dialects in Britain. So that brings us to the end of this particular class on British English. I hope you understood everything. So we discussed about standard English, received pronunciation. After that, we discussed about the varieties of British English, like we discussed different accents and dialects and how they differ from each other in pronunciation, vocabulary, morphology and syntax. So that has finally brought us to the end of this class. Feel free to watch it again and take down notes. And thank you so much for your attention and watching this far. And I hope that you all be safe and sound wherever you are. And thanks once again. Have fun. Bye.